From PA to LA, that's where Bel-Air's taking us next. Episode 5. It's time to talk about it. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Klepcx FM, brought to you by CritiX.com, a place where we talk about movies, television, and pop culture. And if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you hit that subscribe key and that notification bell so you can be up to speed about everything that I talk about here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am back again to bless you all with my thoughts and concerns with Bel-Air. This time, episode 5, which is titled PA to LA. And of course, before I tell you what I thought about it, I got to tell you what it is. For those of you living under a rock, Bel-Air is the dramatic take on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that is on Peacock, executive produced by Will Smith himself and the great talented Morgan Cooper, who wrote and created the dramatic concept of the series. Now, episode 5. When we last saw, let's talk about 4, where it ended, where we last saw Will and the gang. We had got some shocking news that I told you guys that you were going to see. You were going to see some very, very shocking news and a twist that no one probably saw coming. Rashad, the hometown bully in Philly, the reason Will Smith up and left, has been murdered. And a lot of speculation around that. We think maybe Jeffrey had something to do with that. We don't know. Did he have something to do with that? Because he's a gangster. He's G. We know this. But we don't know if he was the guy that actually pulled the trigger or had some guys orchestrate pulling the trigger. So that happens. And then we roll into episode 5, like I said, which is called PA to LA. Now, again, no spoilers, guys. I don't do spoilers here. What I do is I let you know what you're going to walk into. I do, however, do a live spoiler discussion every Thursday night, 9:15 p.m. live Eastern, right here on my channel. You can join me and one of my good friends as we talk live, live spoiler talk about the previous episode, which this one, when it airs on Thursday. So when this airs on Thursday, you can wait till 9 p.m. that night and we could talk openly about this episode. But right now, I just want to give you guys a little gist of what to expect in episode 5. Now, episode 5, to me, although this thing, when it first was announced and picked up by Peacock, they had got picked up for 2 seasons off rip. Something that's never been done before in all of television history, just off a pitch. The whole show was picked up for 2 seasons all at once. So, for me, this show feels as though it is being rushed. And what I mean by that is, you'll definitely see it in this episode. There are a lot of topics going on in this episode. When I first went in, I watched it like 3 times already, but when I went into it, I was open-minded, of course, like I always have been. I love the show still. I still will show up every week to watch this show, regardless of what the topics or what's going on in it. But this one feels a little cramped. We are now at the halfway point, guys and girls. We are now at the halfway point of the series, which is supposed to have 10 episodes in the season. And this episode just feels really jam-packed with a lot of topics. For instance, I will give you the topics. You have Will and Trey. You have Vivian and Vi. You have Hillary and her career. You have Uncle Phil and his politics. Carlton is still on his shit. Carlton's still doing Carlton. Carlton is still on his shit. Then you have a little bit of Ashley in there, and then you have a little bit of Hillary and Viv, and then you have I know I'm missing something, but there are a lot of issues in episode 5. So much to the point that this episode feels a little bit overwhelming, and it's my least favorite episode. I've already seen what comes after this, but for me personally, I think that this episode, for me anyways, because I always speak for me, I don't ever want to speak for all of you. I feel like this episode is very overwhelming with a lot of different topics. Oh yeah, and then there's Carlton, Lisa stuff in there as well. So there's a lot to unpack in this episode. So What I think you may feel is you may either get bored in some places, or you may feel overwhelmed in some places, or you might just kind of check out of the episode, because that has happened to me as well too. Like, I watch it and I find myself just kind of like, I'll pick up my phone and it's on and I know it's on, but I'm like, I'm kind of checked out because there's a lot of things going on. So when I say that I feel like this show is being rushed, I feel like they're trying to cram a lot of things in this little amount of space that we have, and sometimes it doesn't work. In this episode, for me, it doesn't work. I don't want to give any spoilers, but there are some cool things in this episode, like the moments. I say halfway through, because there's a lot of silly stuff in the beginning of this thing that kind of revolve around Hillary and stuff like that, and then we get into some more. We get into some Vi and Viv stuff that's really, really deep, and I really appreciate that stuff. Then we get into some Carlton. I'm sorry, not Carlton. We get into some Will and Trey stuff that really is what's supposed to be the backbone of the story, but it gets shuffled in a lot of mess. Like I said, I'm still coming back, guys. I didn't discourage me to the point where I think the show has fallen off or anything like that, but there is a lot going on in episode 5 where you probably will be like, this shit should stretch out. Like, I had a conversation with a friend of mine about this who's caught up, and he's watched he didn't watch episode 5, but he saw episode 4, and we agreed on some things as far as the pacing of the show and how we think it could have went or should have went. And I'll talk about that more in my spoiler discussion, because I don't want to say things that are going to ruin things for you guys. But just to be clear, this episode, PA to LA, you're going to get a lot of everything. You're going to get a lot of everyone. I don't want to tell you who's not in it. I don't want to give you like too much spoilers, but just know that this one is going to be packed, touching on a lot of the characters, and a lot of the stuff doesn't even get resolved. Like, there's there's like one thing that gets resolved that we've been seeing a lot of, which kind of feels good in the moment, because you're like, oh damn, it's about time. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. But then there is a really big falling out in this episode, and I won't tell you who or what, but there definitely is a moment of oh damn, wow. And I kind of thought it was, but it kind of reminded me of one of the original episodes. That was another conversation that I had with my homeboy, and I'll talk about that again in my live discussion, but I can't spoil anything for you guys. But what I want you guys to know before I wrap this up, because I don't want to go too long, is that this episode here definitely focuses on a majority of the characters. For me, in an uncomfortable way, just too much, like overwhelming. But it's I guess it serves its purpose, because so far between episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a lot of these don't feel cohesive. A lot of them feel like just, what's the words I'm looking for? Like episodic, but like anthology almost. Like it's not the same. Like, something that happens in the end of 4 doesn't really roll completely into episode 5. Kind of speaks kind of like, okay, that was this week's topic. Now this is this week's topics with an S. I don't know the best way to explain that, guys, but just expect to go into this thing and get a heavy load of a little bit of everything. If there were any questions about any other characters that you wanted, maybe this one might answer it for you, but it didn't answer anything for me. I feel as though they're doing a little bit too much at the same time, and that they need to kind of pull back and focus on one idea for season 1, come to a conclusion, and then kind of mix it up going forth from season 2. And I don't feel like I'm getting that. But like I said, I will be coming back every week, guys, just so I can talk to you, and just so I can ease my mind and say, hey, I gave it a shot. Guys, let me know what you think. If you are excited for episode 5, or have you checked out yet? at episode 4, or are you still in this to go? Let me know. I need to know, guys, because like I said, you can catch me live Thursday nights, and we're going to talk about a live open spoiler discussion. Again, guys, like, comment, share. Make sure you subscribe. I appreciate all the love and support that all of you guys have been giving me. When you come here and you talk and you leave your piece down below. And for more movie news, television news, and pop culture, check out wearecritics.com, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.